Mina-san, we are back to where we left off last time. We are now in part 2 of the trial. And we're going to listen to these witnesses' testimony. I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it, but well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He filled us with the ferry, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom 5th passenger, conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend, never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little consenge. Beepa, explain yourself! I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, and the last run of a day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beepo, a disgrace! And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I can't make the result come out any differently. No, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings have already been explained. I still have some problems. Let me have my cross-examination, my goddamn it right! So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. Don't try to get rid of my right to cross-examine, you goddamn idiot. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Oh, shut the hell up. Absolutely. Absolutely, we're gonna have a problem here, my dear man. Not what I have a problem with. Not what I have a problem with. Why is your hat like that? Why the hell would you go and say, I think so? Earlier you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe? What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horse when I heard the scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect it was me, sir. And when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes? So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought I did, but when I go over it again in my head. No, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise...
Truth!
Oh, what the hell are you doing?
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment of the crime was committed? Not a chance. No. Well, it's a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of an omnibus, that is. Peeping! I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it clear as a bull-rat day. It was a grim sight, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that, all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. You think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man? Well, I mean, he had gloves. He had gloves. What the hell are you talking about here, buddy?
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little particular. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. Gilded, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark color stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Ugh! In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Ooh! Alright, so we ruined two of them. But, no! That can't be right! So you're the liar here, then! Gah! That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said, it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
Oh, shut the hell up! It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. What? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding member of society, don't prevaricate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. Oh, no. Client register, you have 100% reason to lie, my dear man. But is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence... I have the evidence! God, Susato, I'm on top of this. It could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I have evidence. God damn it. My lord? Yes, counsel? The defense defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in his testimony. Gog! Very well! I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accuser's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of that? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is formed between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Gah! Gah! And I'm sorry that my British accents are not the greatest. Order! 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 Mr. Bruce Fairplay! Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And beware that your answer may be of most serious implications upon your future, sir. Grrr. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. All right, let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGild's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying? I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir? On the assailant's hands? I think... Yes. I'm almost sure it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? Excuse me, but the evidence... What? It would appear we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yes. Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Witness testimony. What the witnesses really saw. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I remember and distinctly remember that. Sincerely, Flynn. However, I suppose you might say I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and then I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we would all have seen. I mean, you can't have seen the other seat, so I can imagine that there was a fifth passenger. Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside the carriage. The man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to what we saw of the man do it. That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat corresponding to the witness's accounts. In other words, there's no substantial nor significant change in the facts of this case. There's absolutely, so shut the hell up. Very well, your cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. That fifth statement doesn't sound right to me. I wish it let me just go faster through these. And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight of the omnibus. That's right, it was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right! It's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gents inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly on the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you I wasn't looking down. I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? No, they might not have been able to. The opposite seat. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events of the cabin through the skylight on the floor of the roof deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at the stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Oh, shut the hell up! Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nepalese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claim. After all, the scene of the crime is here in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. Well, the seat directly below them, they can't have seen that seat. You will identify the area on the cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Okay. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Right there.
Take that!
Both rows of seat on the roof face the direction of travel, whereas the seats on the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin which the passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. Ah! That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
Shut up! It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nepalese have forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Ambiguity. What the hell? I concur with the prosecution's ranger. In British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. What the hell? That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger who you allude. Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been on the other seat which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Well, I would say that it's Magnus. Because Magnus would have to be the other party. Yeah, Magnus would have to be the one on the other side because he was wearing gloves. The person who had their hands covered in blood wouldn't have been him. So... Go with I have an inkling. See what evidence I can contrive. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. Shut up. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger on the other seat. Yep, slap ourselves, Naruhodo. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat on the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... Yep, I'm gonna go with McGilded, and I'm gonna be very upset if this isn't right, because nobody else fits the bill.
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mick. That's right. I know. I'm making a horrible accusation. I will laugh if I'm wrong. What are you talking about, counsel? I swear to God, if I'm wrong, I'm going to laugh myself silly at this whole problem. That's the name of the defendant! I mean, yeah, I know that.
Objection!
Shut up! If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do not forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeek! People talk of these tiny island nations in the Far East of having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to call me? Let me explain in terms that even a student of the artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to this fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
That's exactly my point. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hand, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary! Order! 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 What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I couldn't see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hats did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in the cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly offer to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. I'm demanding that yes, he does get to be a witness on this stand. That the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Well, yes, he was asleep, supposedly. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? I'm demanding it. The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As the suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Mr. McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. Well, shut the hell up. I will enforce this if it indeed turns out that the man had been withholding information. You can be sure that it will have been the most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord? Do we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? I'm demanding it! Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, give me a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say! It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done! That's how I run things at the guild! Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Dots. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. I again do not know why this thing's not broken. So that is technically the separation between part 3 and part 2 and part 3 of the trial. I don't know why they're not actually like putting the save points in. It's really irritating me at the moment. I will personally go and save this right now. Because I'm gonna be done for today on this. But thank you all for joining me. I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye everybody.